It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. My friends, on today's episode, I was trying to determine the song that we were going to include on the channel today, and I was going round and round and round with options until my head was just spinning. Sometimes that happens. And then I remembered that today is September 11th, and it almost got by me this year without a second thought. And that gave me pause, y'all, because every year for the past 22 years, every time the calendar turns to September, of course, we get thoughts of the coming academic season, of the Labor Day weekend, the coming of autumn, the cooler temperatures, and we've had, at least I have had, thoughts of that bright and clear and beautiful Tuesday morning when those terrorist attacks took place back on September 11th, 2001. And this year, I almost got through the 9/11 anniversary without the same level of thoughts and reflections as I had had in years past. So I have decided to remind myself of some of those feelings from that time period today, and I'm happy that you're with me. I remember in the aftermath of the attacks, amid the confusion and the fear, there was a tremendous sense of camaraderie here in America. The standard operating procedure of our petty bickering between sides of political stripes here and there, that went to the back shelf for a while, and we really did, I think, come together as a country and as a society. And part of that coming together involved several television broadcasts that raised money and awareness and paid tribute to those that were affected by the attacks and those that were aiding in the cleanup, in the aftermath of it. And today, I want to re-experience My City of Ruins, performed by Bruce Springsteen. And he performed this on the broadcast called America, A Tribute to Heroes. This was a broadcast that was aired on September 21st, 2001 by all four major American broadcast networks. We had ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox all airing this. George Clooney was one of the major organizers of the event, which brought together a number of well-known entertainers and performers and actors, all raising money for the victims and their families, especially New York City firefighters and police officers. So the telethon was not only broadcast by all of these networks, but it was broadcast commercial free. And the musical performances that were included, as well as the testimonials that were included, were filmed live from New York, Los Angeles, and in London. So it was a true international effort. And in the end, over $200 million was raised to help these people. And I remember watching this with Megan as it aired, quite vividly, actually. And Bruce Springsteen opened the show with My City of Ruins. A little background on the song. The song had been written the previous year by Bruce, but he was talking about a different city than New York. This is something that I had not realized until I read in about it today, and I've loved this song, y'all. It was written about Asbury Park, New Jersey, a place over on the shore where Bruce has spent many nights over the decades performing. It's not too far from where he's from. And at the time, Asbury Park had succumbed to significant amounts of blight. It was pretty run down. I remember going to Asbury Park soon in this time period, soon after I came to New Jersey, and I was like, this is Asbury Park? Really? Yeah, it was pretty run down, and people had mostly stopped coming to this area to enjoy themselves, at the shore. And as the song ends, he is powerfully imploring the city to rise up, from its decay. And of course, Bruce's lyrics, both metaphorically and literally, became painfully applicable to New York and Washington, D.C. In the wake of these attacks. And we were treated to a raw, an emotional, acoustic, and personal rendering of this song. And I'd like to watch it with all of you and remember what it was like. And I think I'm going to join in a bit on my keyboard, y'all. It's cathartic for me to do that. So we've got Bruce Springsteen on lead vocals. He is also on the guitar and the harmonica. He is also our songwriter. He is joined on stage by longtime members of the E Street Band, Patty Scialfa, Stephen Van Zandt, Clarence Clemens, Susie Tyrell, and he's got others with him, and I don't remember everyone who's there. So let's remember what this was like, y'all. My City of Ruins broadcast live, performed by Bruce Springsteen back in 2001. Off we go. Yeah. With the Statue of Liberty at the beginning. Nothing said, just this as an opening.
It's a prayer for our fallen brothers and sisters. There's a blood-red circle on the cold, dark ground, and the rain is falling down. The church door's thrown open, I can hear the organ song, but the congregation's gone. My city of ruins,
6, 4.
My city of ruins. Now the sweet bells of mercy drift through the evening trees. Young men on the corner like scattered leaves. The boarded up windows, the empty streets, and my brother's down on his knees. My city of ruins.
He's a great poet. At the core of all of his songs are his words.
My city of ruins.
There's a vulnerability to this,
Come on, rise up. 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 Now there's tears on pillows, darling, where we slept. And you took my heart when you left. Without your sweet kiss, my soul is lost, my friend. Tell me, how do I begin again? My city's in ruins. My city's in ruins. Now with these hands, with these hands, with these hands, with these hands, I pray, Lord. With these hands, with these hands, I pray for the strength, Lord. For the faith, Lord. We pray for your love, Lord. Pray for the lost, Lord. Pray for the Come on, rise up.
And that's it. Rise up. That's how I connect with songs, y'all. For decades, it's how I connect with songs. Is just playing along to them. You know? It's a simple melody. It's a simple tune. I mean, he's in A. He's using basic chords. There's no chromaticism. But it's a song that just stops time for me. Ever since I heard it. And when The Rising came out, that's the album that this song ended up being included on. The Rising came out the following year, 2002, and this was the last song included on that album. He ended up giving it a full studio rendering with the band, and that's a beautiful version. But this is the first time that I heard this song, and it just stopped me in my tracks. And that's how the evening started, y'all. It was such a powerful evening. And the music only continued to hit us, you know, right in the feels the whole time. Stevie Wonder sang, U2 sang, Faith Hill was there, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Neil Young sang John Lennon's Imagine. And I think it was the only time that we ever hear Neil Young covering that song. The gentleness and the vulnerability of Neil's voice with John's words killed me. You know, Billy Joel came on and played New York State of Mind. Killed me. Sting played Fragile. How fragile we are. Just, you know? Paul Simon sang Bridge Over Troubled Water. Willie Nelson led, I think, a group of people, as I recall, singing America the Beautiful. And it's just one of the magical things that music can do, y'all. It's there for us to hear, and it's a commonality that we can experience. We all have experienced now these songs and these performances, and we all can have a point of view for how they make us feel. And that's a point of departure for talking about our feelings and coming to grips with our emotions, right? Sometimes it's hard to understand what we're feeling, especially when it's so overwhelming. Some of the speakers that were included that night, Tom Hanks was there, George Clooney, Will Smith, Muhammad Ali, Robin Williams was there, Tom Cruise, Julia Roberts, Robert De Niro, Clint Eastwood, so many more were there. And this wasn't the only one, y'all. I remember the concert for New York that was at Madison Square Garden, and that was huge. I remember that being on for hours at a time. And The Who came back and played for the first time in a long time as a band for that occasion. I remember Paul McCartney singing a new song called Freedom. That was premiered there, and it was just a season of us coming back to our artists and art to help emote, to help figure out how to go forward with that much just weighing on us. And it was palpable, and it was healing. It really, really was. So, friends, when I was a kid, my parents and older members of my family and our network would be the ones to relay stories of John F. Kennedy's assassination, of Bobby Kennedy's assassination, of the moon landing, of Pearl Harbor even, and so many other significant events that I was not here for. So now I feel like it's my generation's responsibility to remind and inform, especially our young people, of what going through this was like, what it felt like, what our feelings were, our confusion and our fears and disbelief, all being wrapped up in knots, and this is the way I remember it, y'all. I'll be quick with this. The academic year had just started, and I was starting my second year out of 2 at Westminster Choir College as a master's degree student. I was studying music composition and theory and was performing in the choirs and such. And it was a start to a new year. We had big plans and we're going forward. And the Tuesday of the week was a mostly open day for me, especially in the morning. So Megan and I were home. In fact, we had just been married. We got married like 5 weeks before 9/11 happened. We went on our honeymoon, we got back, and we're getting ready for the school year to start. And so we're home, and at the time, our alarm was a radio alarm that for some reason was tuned to sports talk radio. I think that was the one thing that really got us up. People talking and like, what's going on? So we wake up, right? And when we awoke to Peter Jennings of ABC News being on ESPN radio, we were like, what's going on? Why is Peter Jennings on ESPN? And so we happened to turn on the footage when we turned on the television as the Pentagon had just been hit. And we really didn't know about the towers in New York City yet. And so when they turned away from the Pentagon to go back to New York, we were like, what the hell? What about D.C.? There's shit happening in D.C. And then it was only just a few minutes later that we saw the first tower crumble. And from then on, it was disbelief. We didn't say much. We were just glued to the TV. We couldn't get a hold of any family members. We had a cell phone, but the landlines were all just booked up and the cell lines were all crazy, and it was just nobody could get through to anybody. And I remember deciding to go to the grocery store actually later that morning because I wasn't sure what was going to happen the rest of the week. And I remember the people in the grocery store being almost like zombies. The energy everywhere was so odd. It's like we were all running on autopilot because our emotions were just overwhelmed. There wasn't chit chatter. It was just so quiet in the grocery store. There were people there for sure. Then that first weekend after the attacks, we decided to drive up a little closer to New York to see what we could see. And apparently everybody else in New Jersey had the same idea because we only got as far after hours to the Goethals Bridge that connects New Jersey with Staten Island. And even from there, we had a decent vantage point of southern Manhattan, and we could see, even days later, the smoke still billowing and the obvious lack of twin towers on the skyline. And it's really then that it came just home, like they're not there anymore. And going to New York for me ever since then it's never been the same since. Of course, New York is resilient and has come a long way since then. We've rebuilt. Megan and I just last year for the first time visited the 9/11 Museum. It was a powerful experience. It's one of the better museum experiences in terms of the professionalism and the way that it was constructed and put together that I've ever been to. Perhaps only the Holocaust Museum stands out as a museum that hits me that emotionally when I attend, when I go. And that's the majority of what I remember, friends, about that time. And I'm thankful to have the opportunity to speak about this in a way that is saved here for people to view, and for myself to come back to, just to mark the tape. This is what it feels like, in 2024, 23 years after this happened. I can't believe it's been that long. We're all different people. Those of us that lived through it. I have a buddy of mine that worked in Lower Manhattan at the time and saw the plane go in. And he ended up walking all the way, like halfway up the west side of Manhattan until he found a ferry that could get him across the river, and then find some trains and buses to finally get him home. And he's told stories, and it's everybody has a story to tell. And the stories, the first person accounts and our experiences, that's how we cope. That's how we learn. That's how we get context for unthinkable happenings like this that occur. And it's a good thing to share our thoughts and to share our art, our music. And I can't be thankful to Bruce Springsteen enough. He's time and time again written and performed songs that just hits home. There is a time in music for everything, a time to laugh and play and show off and be virtuosic and be funny. But when it all comes down to the nitty-gritty of our humanity, it can be there. The right music can be there to lift us up, to help us rise up, and to buoy us emotionally and, quite frankly, physically. It helps that too. So on this anniversary of 9/11, y'all, I just wanted to come on and share these thoughts and relive this music. I'm happy that I did. If you want to share some of your own stories and thoughts and reactions in the comments, I would be very pleased to read what you have to say. This is an open community, and I love our comment sections. They're not like other comment sections on YouTube or on the internet. I'm just thankful that our people are conscientious and empathetic and loving when we respond and we talk with all of each other. That's the way it should be, and that's the way that I like it. And I thank our community for being so supportive and on the same page with me. I really appreciate it. And thank y'all for being with me and hearing what I had to say. It was cathartic for me to do this. So thank y'all for being with me today. We'll see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.